Thanks for joining me again. This time I've got something pretty cool for you. Who doesn't like giveaways, right? So apparently the author Devin Monk, whom I've actually read several books, or first book from, and anxiously awaiting the second book. She is currently working with some blogs to kind of promote the release of the second book in the series Age of Steam. And I'm going to do a full bracer LED that is based in the world that Devin Monk has created, and the final design I decided is going to be a personal Glim collector. So I am going to document for you the creation of my personal Glim collection unit, and I'm going to post that on YouTube, and so you can kind of get an idea, especially the winter, you can kind of actually see how I put it together and different stuff like that. And we'll do some little step-by-step blogs, and you get to see all the bits and pieces. This is going to be on the 26th of June will be when it's posted, and it'll be on fantasyliterature.com. I get you the details will be on my website. I'll put it in the YouTube description as soon as a link is available for you to enter. So I hope you're excited about it as I am, and I'm gonna take you through step by step now. Okay, so here we are at the beginning stages. I've already cut the bracer out of the leather, and as you can see, I originally was planning on doing a half brace design, but since I decided to put the LEDs and all that on it, it wasn't going to fit on here. So you can see the size difference between the half brace and the full brace. So somebody's going to get really lucky, and they're going to get a full brace design from Tinkerton Scientific. And it's going to be, this is the raw state of leather right here, and I'm just going to do some more trim work on it and get that to a point where I've got something to start laying out all my other pieces on for the actual mechanism that does the Glim collecting. And we'll be back and show you that here in just a bit. Okay, so now we're over at the metal working station here, and I've gotten a jump on things. I've already put together a few pieces that I want to incorporate. I decided I wanted to use the CO2 canisters, and this is what they look like to start with. They've got a powder coat or something on them, so they're empty. I get them from the local coffee house here, and got to clean the powder coat off and get them back down to the bare metal. And so right now I've got some pieces already soldered together. These are going to be my leads. What I'm thinking is that I wanted some sort of a way for the collector to actually store the Glim in kind of a temporary holding area. And then I've already made a collector here, and this is the point that's going to be pointed forward towards the bracer. It'll probably sitting just above the tanks, and I'll bring these together down into some sort of box, and the box will have the illusion of the inner workings of the mechanism that actually does the collecting and processing. And then on top of that, this is where inside the box I'm going to hide. This is my 3 volts of juice here. These are two AAA batteries that I'm going to run the LEDs from, and so they'll be inside of a little box up here on the bracer. And then I wanted to have basically a way to collect the Glim, to vial it up so that it's ready for use and whatever. So what happens is, and at least in my theoretical mind, that it's collected through whatever means, mechanical means, or I'm actually leaning towards doing a mysticanical sort of means, so that it's a combination of a mystical collection and the scientific collection, and they've kind of melded into one thing, because the Glim is this kind of mystical substance. So I thought it'd be great to kind of incorporate that in. I'll probably get proven wrong in the books. In the next book, it looks like they're going to talk about at least some about the Glim collection process. So I could be totally off, but in my world, I think it would be really cool to have it so that it's a combination of mystical and mechanical means. So mysticanical is what I'm calling it. But anyway, so it gets collected in here, it goes through the processing box, and I'll have a brass casing around the batteries or whatever. And then what I thought about doing is actually having sort of a piece mounted here on top of the brass box, And so what happens is that you'll take your vials and you'll put them down inside here, and when you put it down inside, it lights up, and you see the green glow, and it fills the vial with, it'll be the illusion of, oh, you pop it in, the light comes on, like it's full, so the vial is ready to use. And so I've got to figure out how to wire up a micro switch, inside of this little housing that I made for it, so that, and then hide it so that when the vial gets placed inside here, boop, the little light comes on and it glows, and it's all kind of neat. So anyways, that's the preliminary plans of where I've got with it so far, and I'll come back after I get some more of the mechanism figured out, and we'll get some wiring and stuff done and start assembly. Okay, so here's a quick update of where I'm at. As you can see here, this got a little bit more complicated than I intended, as usual. So, but this is the battery box. It's going to go on the back side of the bracer, and I've got my little glim fill tube right here on top, so the little vial pops right down in there. And I've got this set up on the underneath side with the battery holder, and that way I'll have a place to put my my wiring for my circuits and stuff, and a place for my little micro switch there to detect the vial when it's put in there. And of course this tube is hollow here, so I can run my wiring for the LED, and the LED will sit right back inside of the tube here. And right now, the last thing that I'm going to have to do for the main part of the deal is I set up a hinge system with a little door here, so that you can pull the battery out and change the batteries while it's on the bracer. But I've got to come up with a latching system so that this actually stays closed, and I haven't decided how I want to do that yet. I don't know if I want to solder a bolt or a bolt and nut system right here on the side so that it locks closed, or what. I think I want something that's semi-permanent, because honestly, two AAA batteries will run a couple of LEDs for a long time before you have to change them out. So anyways, that's where I'm at, and I'm probably going to call it a night. I've spent most of the day just trying to do the box and everything and get everything to fit together the way I wanted. So we'll come back tomorrow, and I'll do a little bit more work on the box and getting the details set up, and then I'll be able to start putting the rest of the pieces soldered to it as well. Alright, so we're on about day 4 of the build, and as you can see, I've got the back door latch set up the way that I wanted to set it up. The battery will slide in and out of the compartment here pretty easily. I may need to put a little handle or something on the battery box so it's easier to get out once it's on the bracer. So, but it's just about time to start putting in the electronics on the inside. I still have a little bit of soldering to do before I can do that, because a lot of the electronics are plastic, so you can't put those in and then solder pieces to it. So I still want to add my front piece here, and I can't do that. I'm going to hide an LED inside of this vial here so that you have a kind of an on-off so that you know that it's working. And once I do this, then I can add that. And what I need to do now is make the connectors to attach this to the box, the storage tanks here, and then put on the collector. And once that's done, it's just a matter of cleaning up all of the ugly scorch marks and solder bits and stuff like that off of the metal, and polishing it up and getting it ready to go on the bracer. And then it's just leather work from there. So I'll keep you updated. Okay, so I guess I'm kind of at a crucial point here, and we're going to find out if this is going to work or not. But what I have left to do as far as my soldering goes, I saved it for very last, is I have this little elbow that I made that I want to solder on the front part in front of this glass vial. And unfortunately, the LED that I wanted to put inside the vial is keeping the glass vial from sliding down into this previously soldered piece. So that means the glass is really just slightly in contact with this. And I know I only have to solder back here, but I'm afraid that the heat is going to be too much for the glass. So I'm actually going to leave the video camera on while I attempt to solder this. I did get some, I couldn't find my safety glasses, but I've got my sunglasses here in case it blows up on me. So you're going to get to see probably a screw up. So let's give this a shot here and see how well it goes. I'm using my little pencil torch here. So of course the sunglasses make it not as easy to see what I'm doing. I'm going to try to keep the heat going away from the glass. This is not going to be the prettiest solder joint. Well, I'm kind of surprised. So far so good. As long as this cools off without causing the glass vial to fracture, I might be okay. I'm going to try to solder this wire using my soldering wand so there's not going to be any direct heat, right on the glass. I just want to make the spring that I made here cover the vial up a little bit. So I'm going to try to solder the spring over here with the wand because I've already got some solder laid out for it. Hopefully it won't be a big heat problem, that's going to fracture the glass like the torch would be. So we might have got lucky. We'll see what it looks like when I clean it up. It's kind of an ugly joint, so I'm going to have to do a lot of filing and sanding on that and see if I can clean the joint up a little bit. So we'll be back in a bit. Okay, one more quick update. So far you can see I've got the actual soldering and the whole collector built for the most part. And I'm working on getting my wiring in. Switch works okay, but unfortunately I damaged the micro switch that turns the vial light on and off. So I think I've got another one around here somewhere, and I'm going to get that wired in. And once the resistors and stuff are wired into the circuit, this will be ready just to kind of clean up a little bit more and get it set up on the bracer. So we're getting close. Alright, so we've got a finished apparatus here that's ready to go on the leather. As you can see, I don't know how well that's going to show up in the lights. Maybe if I turn this off it'll help. But it's got a red light here when the power switch goes on and off. And then of course the green light on the top side here that's going to give the illusion of the glowing effect of the glim, and that only comes on when the vial is inserted into the tube. So you kind of get that illusion of putting the tube in and it fills it up with glim from the storage tanks here. So, and then of course it's got the on-off switch here on the side. So, and all the wiring seems to fit in here pretty good. So not a huge fan of hot glue, but it does work good to insulate some of the wiring and stuff. So I do use that to kind of hold some of the resistors and stuff like that, that permanent stuff in place. And all just accessible through the back through this little set screw here. And yeah, so it's good to go. I'm going to do a little bit more work on the leather and get that stamped and dyed, and I'll be back and show you that in a minute. Alright, I got the bracer stamped and dyed. If I can get it so that you're not seeing the glare quite so much. You can kind of see some of the tooling work in that. And now I'm just ready for assembly. I got to cut my straps to put on there to put it on the arm. And then I'm going to mount the mechanism right to the top there, and it'll be good to go. So getting close, almost done. Alright, so here's the finished product. The Tinkerton Scientific Personal Ethereal Collector, or a personal AC unit. All in all, I think a pretty successful piece. So I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully whoever wins this is going to be happy with it as well. And if that's you, then hey, go to my Facebook and give me a thumbs up there, or visit the website, recommend me to your friends. I would appreciate it. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the creation of this.